Good morning, my Teaserking family. We're just loving this gold and silver run, aren't we? I hope everybody's well. I'm fine. Gold, 42.64. Beautiful sight. It just keeps going. Another 75 every day. Boom, boom, boom. Maybe one day it cuts for no reason. Silver, 53.81. Oh, silver's 50 is the all-time high. That's bullshit. That's the paper all-time high. So 53.81, we should hit 54 on our way to 60, on our way to 100. I love when like people say, "Oh, silver might break 100." Oh, it will break 100. It will break 1,000. It's amazing how stupid these people are doing these shows. They don't get inflation, stop prices. They don't get money printing. It leads to zero over the whole world. Only gold can save you, and only BRICS has the gold. So it's just amazing how stupid these people are. Yeah, just a second. All right. Sorry about that. So we got 42.68. We didn't get a 10 o'clock drop, which is good. So I hear people profit taking. I watched one show yesterday. One guy's coming up with this bullshit. Well, it's up $20, so everybody sell their silver and profit take. You got your money out of it. Idiots paying sales tax. Idiots paying whatever. I paid $2 over premium, over spot. So when I'm buying silver at $25 an ounce, so as soon as it hit 27, I got my money. I'm all set. Now it's at 54. I've doubled my money. In some cases, tripled because I got Highland Mint coins at $16. I was talking to my friend yesterday. Yeah, I got Ken Griffey Jr. and Frank Thomas and Dan Marino, Bobby Orr. Highland Mint came out. So when I was collecting baseball cards, they came out with coins, and I like coins. So I'd go through the list. All right, Barry and Emmett and Jerry Rice, Marino, Montana, Lemieux and Orr and Gretzky, and you just go down, and I think I got 35 of them. I got one big one, a Cal Ripken. It's like, I think 2.5 ounces of silver. They did have gold, but it was expensive, and you didn't know gold was going to do this. I never spent the money. Unfortunately, I could have got a Jordan gold card probably for, maybe $800-900. I don't know. I think it was an ounce of gold, so maybe it was a little bit more, but big mistake there. But that's okay. So those are doing nicely. Now, my one friend doesn't understand it. Hey, Pat, how's Singapore going on? Yeah, you're damn right it's happening, Pat. Was there ever a doubt? I never had a doubt. I know this is what's going to happen. Once I got my Austrian economics classes, and he's ripping up. My teacher ripped up. That's why I ripped up. He ripped up a $10 bill. Just ripped it in half. Said, it's worthless." That got my attention. Since then, I know what's going to happen. That's why I collected baseball cards in gold and silver before. More gold and silver now, but you got to buy real assets. That's the only protection you have. There is a stampede in Singapore. Well, I know, can you go to the store, or you still got to call in? There's still an hour and a half or 6 hour wait. I mean, this is just the beginning. This is just Singapore. Average waiting time is 4 hours at the LCS. What's the LCS? I don't know what that is. Now, are you buying coins or are you buying jewelry? If you're waiting 4 hours there. Local coin store. Ah, okay. Yeah, you gotta be careful when you use the abbreviations. So you go to the coin store, it's a 4 hour. See, I don't have that. I go to my coin store, there's nobody there. Americans don't get it, except for me, and I've told the owner. We're the only two. The queues are huge. Now, are they buying coins? And then if so, is there eagles there, cougarans, or is it just the panda bear, whatever the Chinese one is, or the Russian, what is it, the Russian bear or vodka? The queues are high buying and selling. Well, why would anybody sell? Mm-mm-mm. Well, you're damn right the coins and bar, they should be leaving fast. Why would you sell it? If you sell it, what are you doing with the money? See, this is part I don't get. Why would you sell it? To get into what? Now, if you need the money, okay, to pay a bill, I get that. People have to sell to survive. Okay, well, that's what I'm saying. So they're selling to eat. Same thing here. People selling to my guy's store are probably doing it for bills. The longer you can hold out and not have to do that, which is why I kept some cash out, is let the goal, there it goes, 42.67. Well, soon it's going to be 5,000. Then if I have to sell, I get 5,000 instead of 3, but my costs are pretty much like my rent's rent. It's not moving. My food moves a little, but not much. Although my dark chocolates are up to $5, but I can't find them. I went to 3 grocery stores for my dark chocolate, 80 to 90. I can't find them. They're not there. I see 60 and 65, but not the cocoa content. Hey, Prophet. I've been fine. Where have you been? Platinum is almost sold out. See, platinum's not a precious metal, and it's not money. So I really don't know. Just stay with gold and silver. I don't get people running into platinum. It's not precious. It's not money. So I would not do it. Like nickel and copper. I mean, those are precious. Those are metals. They're not precious. They're not money. You buy gold and silver because it is money. That's the point of it. But I don't know why they're buying platinum, but it's not going to do anything. Platinum has outperformed gold and silver this year. I get it, but it's not money. What is platinum used for? Gold is money and silver are money, but not platinum. So we're looking at the whole picture. When the dollar goes, we have gold and silver to buy things. You're not using platinum to buy things because nobody recognizes it as money. They're going to want gold and or silver. Profit busy, but our gold has been on the move. Yeah, the gold's really been high. Like I said, 42.69 today. I mean, it's gone from, if you look at it, it was 3,500 for most of the summer. So let's call it $700 has moved. So if you have 100 ounces, it's $700 an ounce, right? Or it's gone up $700. So 100 ounces, you've made $70,000 since June. 70 grand. That's huge. So that's the beauty of gold and silver. Silver is going to run to 100 fast now. Yeah, well, you can see it's up another $1.50. I don't know why it doesn't run $10, $20 like gold does. I think we'll eventually get there where it's enough with this $1.48 and gold's up $82 and silver's up $1.48. So ask the question, when will it stop? It's not stopping. It's never stopping. You have the whole world in monopoly money, right? You got these guys in monopoly, you got these idiots in monopoly. So your only option is to dump it for gold. And as the stock market crashes, because there's 42 million in stocks from the foreigners, they're not going to want to be in US dollars. So they're going to want to get out of their stocks. They're going to want to get out of their stocks and bring it home and buy gold and silver, maybe some euros, probably not a lot. But so the stock market will dump. Right now, it's just being held up by the government printing money and putting it into their stocks that they want. Bitcoin's never the answer. Neither is a stable coin. Just stay in money, stay in gold and silver. You'll be fine. Well, the money will go to zero, but you need it to eat until some other option comes in. If you need money to eat in Singapore or Canada or here, you just keep holding the money because it makes no sense to, you want the gold and silver mostly, but you do need some money to buy the food and pay for your rent and stuff. We've gone from 4 million to 6.4 in the past year. Yeah, you've done well. It's been, it just keeps going. But like I say, you made 700. So if gold's gone up $700, you've got 100 ounces, that's 70,000. Not bad. But wait till it starts to really move, because gold's going to go 4,200 to 42,000. So then your 100 ounces. So if you can hold your 100 ounces to, another few years and not have to cash it in to survive, your gold. Now, Pat, I'm going to ask you this. I see a lot of gold and or silver on eBay from China, and it's really cheap. Are these people fucking with us and they're scamming us, or is it really to survive? They want real silver. It's real silver and gold, but cheap. And if it is, then why are they doing that? Because they could get, like right now, silver I see for $60, but I'll see in China $30. Well, why don't they just sell it for 60? If they really need the money, if it's real. That's why I question. I believe it's a scam. It's a Ponzi. It's not real gold and silver that they're trying to sell. And they should be ashamed of themselves, these boys, putting it out for $30, trying to make it sound like it's real. I don't believe it's real. I believe it's fake. I wouldn't buy it. I just assume pay the, what is it, 53. I can go to the store and pay 55 for it. And I know I'm getting a real silver. I was talking to my other buddy last night about Cougarans, and he asked me, Cougarans are $4 more. And he says, should I buy a Cougaran? I says, no. As far as I know, our logic is simple. We are buying an ounce of gold. We are buying an ounce of silver. We don't care the emblem on the outside. If it's an eagle, if it's a maple leaf, it's a Cougaran, it's a Philharmonic. We don't really care what it is. What we're buying is an ounce of 999 silver. That's what we're buying. We just want to get in on the gold and on the silver. So therefore, there's no Why would I pay more for a Cougaran? It's all going to end up the same. This is 53.88 for silver, not US silver, not Canadian silver, not Cougaran silver. Silver, 53.88. Gold, 42.71. That's the price of gold. It doesn't specify if it's an eagle or a cougar. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it should all be 1 ounce of gold, 1 ounce of silver. Here's the price, and we'll watch the price go up. 53.89, 42.72 for the gold. So maybe we'll get to 43 here. Profit, I'm hoping we can hold at least 75 to 80% of it for at least the next year. Pat, I would never buy anything on eBay, only a reputable dealer. Yeah, these guys aren't reputable. They're from China, and they say like they have like zero like or good transaction. It says location China, and they're half off, and I'm like, you got to be kidding. There's no way it can be real. But what are these people stupid? If this ounce of silver is $60, why would you sell it for 30 in the first place? So if you are selling it for 30, it just shows there's something wrong, because you should, I mean, there's no reason to sell it for 30. You can get 60 for it because that's near spot. So it makes no sense to me. I always email them going, you motherfucker, why you're scamming everybody? And I never get a response, of course. Half off, it's fake. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Because if it was real, they'd sell for the full price. But yeah, you see 20, 30 here. I'll show you a quick example because I was looking at it. Where is it? That's a half ounce. All right, so like here, 1 ounce fine silver, 38.99, located in Hong Kong. This is what I'm talking about. Avoid this at all costs. Why would you sell it for 38.99 when the spot is 53? And here's a couple more, 38.99. So I'm trying to get the price, and I'm seeing this shit. 35.99. It's all Hong Kong. This one's actually in the US, but it's obviously a Chinese guy. And 37.98. Then not till here where I finally get 66.31, which is it's a little high, but it's close to what it is. Then you got these 25.99 and located in China. This is the US, so it's a Chinese guy in the US. And then here's another located in Hong Kong. And then finally, here's a coin store, 65.66. So that's who you want to buy from. But it's just amazing how stupid these guys are. But that's how stupid the population is if they're not in class here. They're not listening to my class. They're not learning. And if they're not learning, I don't know what they're doing. But people, oh, it's a bargain. I can get it it sells for 53, but some idiot selling it for 30. I'll buy it. I mean, they're all getting scammed. And they say, oh, you can return it, and all this bullshit. And it's like you could tell off the bat. That's why I go to my store. I just go to my store. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, Pat. Half off. But even if you needed the money, okay, I need to eat. I'm not selling it for half off. It's an ounce of silver. I'm going to sell it for $60. And I don't know how eBay works there. If they get it all, taxes, shipping. How much is your shipping going to be? Or no, I'd have to pay for the shipping. Right. So Cougarans, Silver is silver. An ounce of silver is an ounce of silver. It's 50, let's say it's $54 now. That's an ounce of silver. Doesn't matter what country. The dealers sit there and fuck around with you. Well, it's a cougar and it's worth more, it's worth less, an eagle, a maple leaf. It's an ounce of silver. It's $54. That's the bottom line. That's all you care about. And so that's why we buy the silver. We buy it at that 54 price. That's what it is, but we know it's not a real price. We know it's way under what it should be. So that's the whole point. It's the price of it. So we're buying an ounce. It shouldn't matter what country. At the end of the day, as it gets deeper and deeper in and it's worth $500 an ounce, I don't think it'll matter. I think there's not enough supply of it. Okay, so right now, we'll listen to Alligator had a little thing that was actually fairly good explaining it. I can tell he's been listening. He's starting to realize inflation's money printing and not prices, which obviously he's listening to us because he never said that before. And that's where it is. The gold is, that's what inflation is. So you're sitting there, it's very limited. And with the central banks and China buying the bars, yeah, they take a bar to make some ounces to keep us happy, right? But basically, it's not that much. There isn't that much out there. So as the bank will take one bar and make so many ounces, so many coins, but as the demand goes, there's only 200,000 tons, of which most of it's gone. China's was 70,000 tons. Russia, India, BRICS. So they've eaten most of it up. But the dollar in every country is going away, making the demand for gold and silver go 20 times higher. But there's no supply. The supply isn't growing, just the demand. So when you ask, when will this stop? The answer is never. People are going to keep buying because they have to get out of the dollar. As you're destroying the dollar, which all these countries are, they're probably too stupid to be doing it on purpose. But as you're destroying the dollar, people like us go, oh, I got to get into gold and silver. It's the only option. It's the only out. So we go into it. But as more people discover it, as the Titanic is sinking further and further, the frenzy happens and people say, I got to have gold. I don't care what the price is. Right. So when we go to the grocery store, we look at steaks and they're $20. We go, nah, that's too high. I'll wait till they're on sale. Or Coca-Cola is $3.50. I'm not going to pay that. But when it comes to gold and silver and dumping your money for that, we don't care what the price is. As long as you have money, you're going to buy one or the other. Even if, and that's why I recommend quarter ounces or tenth of an ounces. They're affordable. Although the quarter ounce, I think, is about $1,200 now. I bought a ton at $300. I don't care that I made 4 times on my money, and I am not going to profit take because I'm not an idiot. Because that means I got to sell my gold and I get back into dollars. And if I do that, I'm an idiot. Because now what are we going to do with something worthless? Why would I sell something that has value for something that has no value? So it's like taking a Mantle card and buying a Lamar card with it. Like, why would I do that? I mean, the Mantle card's gold and the Lamar card is worthless. Why would I trade it? So that's really the point that people aren't getting. It's just buy the gold. But as people wake up to it, the demand is huge and it's just starting to get huge. Right now it's still small, but the supply doesn't go anywhere. You can't make it, you can't print it. Even if you got a gold mine, how much can you dig out of the ground? And you probably dug it all out of the ground already. So there's not a lot left new gold and silver to add to supply. And believe me, China and Russia would be all over it if you did find a mine. And then everybody's going to see the normal guy is going to buy ounces, right? The rich guy in Germany is going to dump his stocks. I doubt he's going to buy a bar, those 400-ounce bars. He's probably going to buy 50 ounces, 100 ounces, something like that. But there is no supply of it. So the price has to soar. So when does the price stop? Price doesn't stop because there's what, 6 billion people in the world, and all of them are going to need gold and silver, and most of them can't afford it. They'll all be able to afford silver for a while. As silver goes to 100, they'll afford that, because at the end of the day, you realize you must have gold and silver, that your dollar, your ruble, your British pound, your euro is worthless. And that makes all the prices go up, and they'll start just, getting rid of the dollars. So the fiat system, when they say that's ended, it's the dollar that's ended. The system, the financial system doesn't end. What is this thing? Right? The financial system is not ending. The money is becoming worthless. And that's what's happening. So it's money with no value. People dump it, and you can Rumpelstiltskin it into gold and silver. Right? That's the key to it. But as it runs out, the demand doesn't, price goes up. And we're just starting to get where people are realizing, I need gold and silver. I need to get out of my dollar. I think it's a lot more than they think. And again, the portfolios, they'll say, oh, there's less than 0.5% in the portfolio. Yeah, but with all the inflated money, they're missing the point. The portfolio, which was, maybe $1 million before, is now $1 billion. Right? You got Warren Buffett with a billion. Well, it's all fake monopoly money, but that skews the amount of gold, because now you've got more dollars, even though they're worthless, but the same amount of gold. So it makes it look like, oh, there's only 0.5% of gold, but that's a bad example, because they're using inflated dollars that are worth less, but they have 1 billion of them. So of course it's going to make the if you do the formula, it's going to make it look like, oh, there's only 1/2 ounce of gold. Wait till we get to 5 ounces. You'll never get to 5 ounces of gold. You can't, because there's so much monopoly money out there, and you can't come up and print more gold. Now the value of the gold can go up, maybe making it worth more. So value wise, it might be better, but that's about it. So that's the key. So this is just starting. Will the demand, will the price, stop? Will it go down? No, it's only going to go up. It has to, because we have demand. Demand creates the price going up. If there's no demand for gold, the price doesn't go up. Because BRICS is there and the demand, the price goes up because people want it and there's not there. So they'll have to pay more for it. Okay. Instead of, what did we do? We bought it at 250. We bought it at 1,500. We bought it at 2,000. We bought it at 2,500, until we spent all our money, and now we just sit back and watch it go. And that's what's happening. So this is just going to keep going and going and going. But anyway, so it's good to hear, Pat. It's good to hear you. And yeah, Singapore. So as he's saying, it's a 4-hour wait at the local coin store to get in and buy coins, or they're buying coins in bars. So they're not really there. And so basically, if you can get your silver, you go buy it. But again, there's no key to Cougarans, right? Cougarans aren't worth more than an eagle. Certainly not here. So my friend wanted, they asked for $4 more, and I told them absolutely not. Why would you pay $4 more? You're buying silver. We don't care if there's a deer on it or an eagle or a maple leaf. It doesn't matter. Whatever's cheapest is we're going to buy it as long as 999, 1 ounce of silver, then we buy it. That's all. That's what we care about. So yeah, we're not buying collectibles. We're not buying proofs. These, oh, it's Superman and it's $100. Yeah, well, good luck to you. We're not doing it because you're not going to make up the that extra value. And again, when I bought my baseball and football, Jerry Rice and Joe Montana, I paid $16 for them. That was it. Um, and so I'm fine with it. These are back in the 90s when they were playing, right? Um, so I'll play Mark McGuire later, or no, Alligator later. Let's look at football as there's a game tonight. And let's go through our games. We got Pitt 5.5, 44. Rogers against Flacco. Play against Cincy 20-3 since last year. The last 23. So they played 17 games last year and 6 this year. So 23. And if you bet against Cincy 23. Now it's Pitt's an E team, 21 defense. Cincinnati's a Z team with the 31 defense. So the defense sucks. As far as Flacco learning the offense, I'm going to throw the ball over the middle. I'm going to throw a slant. I'm going to throw a post. I don't know how much it matters, just maybe the lingo. But Pitt's playing better defensively. You've got Aaron Rodgers. Now they played. I don't think they played. Yeah, they didn't play London last week. Yeah, Denver and the Jets. I think Pitt played in London. I don't know when they didn't. Maybe that's a while. Yeah, they played Minnesota. So Pitt beat Minnie 24-21. 43.5. You got a 21 defense and a 31 defense. You got Joe Flacco. He's not going to help the defense, but he will help the scoring. Pittsburgh's defense is good. They're going to blitz them all day. They're laying 5.5. We'll call it 44. This is a tough one because how good are Pitt? It's this Thursday night crap. You're out of sync. You're traveling. Granted, it's only from Pennsylvania to Ohio, which is, I think Luke said, it's like a 2-hour drive, 3-hour drive from Pitt to Cincy. So if it's a flight, it's, maybe a half hour. So, without Joe Burrow, you still have Chase. So you got to respect Chase. It's a real tough one. On a Sunday, I probably take Pittsburgh. On a Thursday, I'm stumped. As far as totals, I'm not sure. I haven't put a score. Let's put a score down. 24-20 will be my score. It just popped in, so I'm going to use it. I think Pitt wins a close one. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think Pitt wins with Aaron Rodgers. I just don't see Cincinnati with a strong enough defense to do anything. And so Rodgers should have a good game against this defense. And, play against Cincy 20-3 makes it attractive. So I think you can go with Pitt, or you can go over or under, whatever you like, whatever you feel. Pitt with the tough. Rodgers, Flacco should get you some points. So maybe it's an over, but it's still a 44. So if you think over 38, Pitt's got the D. So we'll see. So again, it's a tough one because it's the Thursday night. And we don't like the Thursday nights. All right. Next game, the Rams go to Jacksonville. Now, we're not sure this is a Sunday morning in London. Yeah, everybody in LA wants to wake up at 6:30 to watch this game. It's actually a decent game. LA Jacksonville, LA B team, 18 defense. Stafford, Jacksonville's an E with a 20 defense, and Lawrence. Um, the Rams are 8-0 as a road favorite, and that's what they are. They're in London, so they're a road favorite. They're 21-4 the last 2 years, 36-7 the last 3 years. Play against Jacksonville as a road dog is 8-0. There's no trend on Jacksonville. They're just changing it again. They've got the new coach, so we really can't look at the Jacksonville trend, but we can look at the Ram trend. So they're 21-4, 8-0 as a road favorite. So they play well on the road. Now you got Puka who's injured, but he's not out. So we don't know probably till Saturday if he's playing or not. So I'm going to wait on this game. Rams are B, Jacksonville's an E. Jacksonville's playing decent, and they go to London every year. They're a bunch of idiots. This is what happens. They'll play Jacksonville like 2 weeks, and then they're burnt for the rest of the season. With Puka, I like the Rams. Without him, I'll go to Tutu Atwell and Devontae Adams. So you got Stafford, you got a good run, you got a good defense. They're the better team here. Lane 3. Again, you got London shit and the time change. I mean, it's going to be 6:30 for the Rams also. Now they played at Baltimore. And they probably went to London, so maybe they're so screwed up and they're so tired anyway. This is always a tough game because both teams are tired. You're dragging them to London. You're dragging them to you're dragging them to 9 in the morning Eastern time. And in this case, LA's 6:30 in the morning and Jacksonville's 9:30 in the morning. How are you supposed to get any good product out of this? So it's a terrible time. It's a terrible setting for the game. Nobody gives a shit about London. I don't know. I would be on the Rams as they are 21-4 in a teaser. Stafford's healthy if Puka plays. And as far as the total of 45, 18 defense and a 20, it's more confusion. I guess if Puka plays, I would play it over. Jacksonville, they both have decent defenses, but again, all the travel. So it makes it very difficult. Carolina and the Jets's. Carolina 1.5, 42. How is Carolina favored over anybody with Steve Young? They're an under team with a 24 defense, so they're kind of, they don't score a lot. That's why they're an under team. And the Jets's are a Z team with a 28 defense. Young versus Fields. Play against the Jets 21-2, but that's with last year's regime. So you got a different coach, different quarterback. So we don't have enough we got 6 weeks of Fields and this new coach he'll be there a year and gone. I don't know why he would take the Jet job. He was the Lions defensive coordinator. If I was him, I'd have stayed in Detroit. At least you have a chance. Going to the Jets, they're not going to win a game. I've already called it before. They weren't going to win a game. They're not going to win a game. And Fields can't throw a ball. But Carolina to be a road favorite. It's really difficult because both defenses are Fields is usually an over. He usually can't throw, but he runs and he gets a couple of touchdowns, and Steve Young will run. So it'll be two running quarterbacks who can't complete a pass. I can't play Carolina as a road favorite, and how can you play the Jets? So it's total, and then does it go over or under? I don't know. Maybe it's an over. Do I have Carolina marked right as an under with the 24 defense? They don't score a lot. The Jets, Z team. So if the Jets were favored, I would take Carolina. I can't play Carolina as a road favorite. I don't know. Again, this is the type of week it's kind of confusing. There's not enough data to really say, oh yeah, and the quarterbacks are so bad. Philly goes to mini, Philly 2-44. We got Philly at 18 with the 24 defense. But Jalen Carter apparently didn't play last week, is going to play this week. I'm reading, oh, Jalen Carter's going to play this week. He sat out last week. What? He sat out to the Giants, and that's why they lost. So you're getting players sitting out that you don't know they're sitting out. That's why they gave up 34 points in Scatterboo when you don't have your main guy in the middle of the defense. So he's going to play. An E team, 24 defense, and Hurts against Minnesota, an under team with a 19 defense. And I assume Carson Wentz is still starting. It doesn't really matter. J.J. McCarthy's terrible. Philly is off of 2 losses. Backs against the wall here, -2. So I like Philly getting the 4. I like the under 44, under 50, because Minnie's got a good defense and no quarterback. And Philly's got a good defense and no quarterback. So you don't really have a lot of offense here and fairly good defenses. So I think Philly after 2 losses, getting 4 is a good play. And I think under 50 is a good play. Oakland and KC 12, 45.5. Oakland's terrible. A W team with a 25 defense. So even with Crosby, they don't have this great defense. They have no line. Geno Smith has all these interceptions. Brock Bowers is hurt. I don't know if he's playing. I don't think he is. And then you've got Gentry, who, if this was college in Boise State and he's playing San Diego State, maybe. But he's not. He's in the big boy league, and that's all they got. So look for Oakland, KC to key on him. KC, a B team, 21 defense, playing very well now, and Mahomes. KC 17-3 is a home favorite. It's hard to take KC here and lay 6. In the NFL, it's hard to lay more than 3 because the teams just play to win. In college, they're looking for the whole, I got to win by 50 and move up in the rankings to get into the playoff. Not here. KC wins by 3, they're fine. So it's hard to lay 6. It's a rivalry game. Yes, Oakland stinks. Do I want Oakland in 18? One of our guys likes Oakland in 18. I can't recommend Oakland in 18. No, could it win? Sure. I don't see them scoring that much. KC's got a killer defense. KC, after the Jacksonville mess, but then they beat Detroit, they would have covered. So I don't know. I think KC -6 is more than Oakland plus 18. I think I like the under in the game. Mahomes, if they do get up 17, 20 points, they're just going to run the ball and kill the clock. And Oakland can't really do much unless they get pick sixes and turnovers. They're not going to score much. So you have a weak Oakland offense against a strong KC defense. Mahomes just moves the ball, moves the chains, gets the first down. So I think under 51 is probably the best play here. KC at 12. If it was down to 9 and I could go 3, yeah, but 12, laying 6. I remember we looked at Buffalo in a couple of games. They were big favorites and they didn't cover. I think they did in the teaser, but it was close. New England at Tennessee. New England 742. Is New England this good? You got a B team, New England, 20 defense, Drake May. You got Tennessee, a Z team with the 27 defense, Cam Ward, who stinks. Now you got a new coach. I don't know why Callahan's kid was the coach. I thought it was Callahan, but he was the offensive line coach. So I don't know what the hell they're doing. Tennessee's in major disarray. There was Z team before. I don't think they're getting better. You can't use the trend. Play against Tennessee 20-3. You can't because last year Ward wasn't there and they had a different coach. Do we trust Drake May? Absolutely not. They barely beat one at New Orleans. So I don't buy New England. They did get a lucky win against Buffalo. That was a fixed game. So I don't know. Tennessee with a pretty good defense. I think this is an under 42 and a half. Yeah, probably Tennessee won't score. New England has a decent defense with Vrabel. And Drake May will put some points up, but I don't know. I don't trust Drake May enough at this point to beat Tennessee, but I have been betting against Tennessee every week and winning. So maybe you go New England -1 or you go under. Miami, Cleveland, 2.5, 39.5. Tag against Gabriel. Play against Miami as a road dog, 14-1, which means to place Cleveland. Miami's a Z team, Cleveland a Z team. Miami with a 29 defense, and Tyreek Hill's out for the year. Cleveland's a Z and a 24 defense. So Cleveland, Gabriel, we can't trust them. Both teams are pretty bad on defense. Well, Cleveland's not, but they got a weaker defense. Miami, terrible defense, terrible coach. Tua sucks. But how do you bet Cleveland? I mean, Cleveland's a Z team, so you really makes it hard to bet the game unless you go total, which is a Miami defense is a 29. This should be an over game, but you don't have a quarterback. Gabriel's okay, but he's brand new. So maybe you go under in the game. This is a very difficult game. New Orleans goes to the Bears, another shit game. The Bears 5-47. New Orleans is a Z team, but they're starting to get better. Rattlers actually completing passes. A Z team with a 27 defense, and the Bears are more of an over team with a 28 defense. So I think you go over in this game. I noticed the Bears got their secondary back. They had a couple of all-pros that were injured the first 3-4 games that came back last week against Washington. Should have lost to Washington. A bad fumble by Washington at the end. I don't know. I watch Daniels on Washington, and he seems too relaxed. They're getting beat, and he's just on the bench, kind of smiling and laughing. And you're like, "Are you into the game or what?" So I'm not quite sure what he's doing. The Bears with Caleb, he's starting to show signs that he knows what a quarterback is. We know he's bad against a good defense, but I don't know that New Orleans has a good defense. 27. They lost at home to Drake May. They've been playing the Giants. They've been playing the Jets. I mean, they've been playing shit teams, New Orleans. The Bears played the Lions and lost by 100. So it's hard to say. Can we trust the Bears to win with Caleb? No. I think it's an over with two kind of weak defenses. Rattlers should score some points, and Caleb should get something. David, Raiders are big underdogs. They might get beat up bad as KC's starting to play better. Maybe. We'll see. San Diego, 1.5, 48.5. Indy's an A team. Daniel Jones is okay. He's not great. They're a 19 defense, which I don't buy. San Diego is an under team with a 21 defense. Herbert against Jones. Herbert's better, but not as much. We can't really use Indy trends. They're 6-1 as a road dog, 7-0 as a play against road dog, but now they got Daniel Jones and a new coach, so we can't use last year's trends. This is the problem with technical analysis. When the variables change, you can't use it. You can't say, well, what's the difference? It was a different coach and a different quarterback. Same thing. No, it's not the same thing. You can't use that. So, with that said, it's a toughie. I don't know. Does Indy have a 19 defense? Indy will run Jonathan Taylor and Jones a little bit. San Diego has their fourth string running back in there. Decent defense. Maybe an under. It seems high, 48.5. Seems like a big number in that game. The Giants at Denver. Denver 7-40. Giants an E team with a 24 defense, and Dart against Denver, a B team with a 16 defense, and Bo Nix. Again, Dart's new to the game. Played 2 games. I don't know. The Giants, I think they got killed last week. Oh, no, they actually beat Philly last week. They lost the game. I think they lost to New Orleans. Yeah, they lost to New Orleans 26-14. Beat Philly because Jalen Carter doesn't play. I love how we didn't know that Jalen Carter wasn't playing. Denver -7. Denver's good at home. Dart, I wasn't impressed with him at Ole Miss. I'm not impressed with him here. He's a good runner, not a good quarterback. Bo Nix is good. So you got a better defense in Denver with the 16, and you got the Giants with the 24. So we'll have to see there. This whole week is very tough because there's not enough information on most of these teams. The Bears, the New Orleans, Cleveland keeps changing. All these teams have changed the quarterback. Tennessee's changing their coaches. It makes it hard. You don't have data, so you can't just say, oh, this is what's going to happen. You need the data to tell you what's going to happen. And if our data, we don't have enough of it or it keeps changing, we can't really play it. Then you've got a Thursday night game and a Sunday morning game what are you going to do with that? So we will see. Green Bay goes to Arizona. Green Bay 6.5, 45. Who's the quarterback? Murray or Brissett? Brissett looked pretty good last week. They had Indy beat, and Indy scored a late touchdown on them. Green Bay a B team with a 20 defense. Arizona an under team with a 21. Play against Green Bay as a road favorite, 8-1. That we can use. Arizona 10-2 is a home dog. We can use it if Murray plays. And play against the home dog, it's 10-2. So Arizona plays close games at home. Green Bay is a bad road favorite, so the edge goes to Arizona here, depending on who the quarterback is. Marvin Harrison, I think, is out. He stunk anyway. You see him on Ohio State on Big Noon, and the idiot goes, oh, it's marvelous, Marvin Harrison, or whatever, Marvis Hagler, whatever you want to call him. Doesn't mean he's good, just means the announcer's out of his freaking mind. So I don't know. I don't really trust Green Bay on the road. Love is not very good. Brissett and Murray Brissett's better, I think. So it becomes a defensive game, and maybe you go to whatchamacallit. I can't think of the new guy. But anyway, maybe it's an under. It's a crapshoot on half these games. Washington, Dallas. This I can figure out. Washington 2-55. We're going to go with the over in this game. This is your free pick. Washington's an even team with a 21 and Jalen Daniels. Dallas is an over team with a 31 defense, so it just bleeds for an over. Washington 23-3 in a teaser. Play against Dallas as a home dog 7-1. With the new coach, I'm not sure we can use that, but we can use 23-3 because that's with the coach and that's with Daniels. So That's what we have there. So your free pick is go over in this game. Dallas is playing over games, so we're going to keep going with that. Prophet, I see your man Scatterbrew has been tearing it up. Yeah, he tore it up at Arizona State. I knew he was a good running back. All these teams that passed him for offensive linemen are idiots. And with Dart, so the Giants have hope, but we'll see. They had Barkley and they didn't do anything with him. So hopefully we'll see. But he's a good running back, which I knew. Atlanta, Frisco 247. Penix against Jones. We've got Atlanta an under team with a 20 defense, Frisco an under with 21. Penix throws a lot of very accurate passes, not that deep. I don't know. Mac Jones seems to be throwing for yards. Purdy might play. The tight end might play. Drawing a blank. Drawing a lot of blanks. What's his name? The Kittle. He's like, he's worked, but he's not ready, I don't think. They do have McCaffrey playing. A couple of defensive players are out. So the Niners are in trouble. I think this is one where I like Atlanta as a live dog, and probably the under in the game. Tampa Bay, Detroit 5.5, 52.5. I like Tampa and the over. Tampa's an over team with a 25 defense in Baker. Detroit's an over team with a 24 defense in Golf. They got 3 guys in the secondary injured, Detroit. Yes, Tampa's got Evans and Godwin out, but I saw the guys last week were fine. So they come up with good receivers. So they're fine. Tampa 38-5 in a teaser, 22-2 just last year and this year, 15-0 as a road dog. So this is definitely a Tampa play here. In our last game, Seattle 3-41. Seattle an under team with a 12 defense, best defense in the league. Stroud, who's terrible. Seattle an A team with a 20 defense. They got a good defense. And Darnell. Houston 11-2 as a road dog, 21-3 overall. We can use that trend. So we like Houston probably more under that big defense because we can't really trust Stroud. So we'll see how it goes. So be careful tonight. It's Thursday night. Be careful. Let's see if we can see any injuries. So let's see the injury news. Trey Hendrickson pushing to play versus Steelers. Steelers can put iron grip on AFC North. Steelers morning rush. I don't know what that means. I know in the 70s, the Steelers would win every game against Cincinnati. They won like 25 in a row. Tampa Bay is a very good. Baker Mayfield is really good. Yeah, we understand that, David. Well, I don't know. I can't get that. Let's go to news. NFL injury report. Updated 29 minutes ago. Pukanuka and Bugwa updates for okay. Injury recap. Mbeka Mbuka hamstring. This is a tough break for managers, a rookie. So Evans with the hamstring could return in week 7. Mbakwa could miss some time due to the injury. Yeah, okay, well, that was a big help. Pukanuka. NFL Network is now reporting that Nuka is likely to miss some time. He did not practice. That means he could miss week 7 matchup. So what's the point of this if they're not going to tell us if he's in or out? Seems really stupid. He could miss week 7's matchup. So we still don't. We're not getting good injuries. Marvin Harrison. Uh, uh, So he might be better. I mean, what kind of report is this? Well, the guy's hurt, so he might play. Well, yeah, we know that. We want to know if it is. So they haven't made anything. No, George Kittle. So if we go here, week 7 injury report. Purdy with the toe, its shoulder doesn't say anything. McCarthy with the ankle. Kyler Murray with the foot, and Carson Wentz with the shoulder. But it doesn't say if they're in or out. Bucky Irving, running back, is out for Tampa. Who cares? Omari Hampton for the Chargers. Who cares? Aaron Jones for the Vikings. Who cares? Although that will affect that Philadelphia game. Wide receiver, Pukanuka, CD Lamb, Marvin Harrison, Debo Samuel, Mike Evans, Mbuka. Godwin's the only one out. McLaurin has got a quad. Quentin Johnson, the Chargers, has a hamstring. All these hamstrings because they don't play in the preseason. I tell you this, and then boom, here, look at all these. Darnell Mooney, Falcons, hamstring. Darius Slayton, Giants, hamstring. A quad. Christian Watson, a knee. A shoulder, an ankle. DJ Moore, the Bears, undisclosed. Jacoby Myers, Raiders, knee, toe. Tight end, Brock Bowers, knee. Kittle, hamstring. Noju, knee. Kincaid, the Bills, well, they're off anyway. Out for the season, Malik Neighbors, Giants. Tyreek Hill, Dolphins. Najee Harris, Chargers. Austin Eckler, Commanders. James Conner, Cardinals. Antonio Gibson, Patriots. And Miles Sanders, Cowboys. That's the only one that makes any sense. So we really aren't getting a nice injury report yet. We're getting this guy. Maybe he'll play. Maybe he won't play, which doesn't really fucking help us. All right. So a tough week in pros. The one free play, Dallas Washington over, makes perfect sense. That one I like. The others, they're just. I don't know if I'm playing tonight's game. Again, I don't really. The LA Jacksonville. If Pukanuka plays, but if he doesn't, maybe it's an under. You got to understand that too. If there's all these injuries, maybe it's an underplay. Although CD Lamb's injured and they keep going over, so that hasn't really mattered. Pitt, Cincy, we'll see. All we know is Burrow's out. Rodgers, you think Pittsburgh's good, but it's a Thursday fucking night, and they have to. Now it's a small travel to Cincinnati, so it's not a big travel, but they do miss some practice time because they're busy traveling on Wednesday instead of practicing on Wednesday. Although it's so short, they probably could practice. Then you got shit games: Carolina and the Jets, New England, Tennessee, Miami, Cleveland, New Orleans, Chicago, and then you get some decent games. So I'll have to work hard to get my scores. I've been so busy with college because it's such a beautiful week in college. College, I could give you 10 free plays, but I only give one. Very strong. Let's look at what happened yesterday. So we've had Tuesday games. We had 2 games yesterday. And yesterday, Delaware, Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State wins 38-25. and we did like over 57. So that one actually came in the way it should. Both had 26 defenses. UTEP 35, Sam Houston 17. Bet against the Z team won as Sam Houston was the Z team, and UTEP put up 35. See, when you got a Z team with a 39 defense, even teams like UTEP who don't score a lot, then they score. They go, oh my God, we can get first downs on this team, and they put up 35. That's why I'm always interested in who UMass is playing. They can't stop a good high school team. All right, so those two. So let's look at tonight's games. Today's Thursday. We have one game, Tulsa and East Carolina. East Carolina, 16 and a half, 53 and a half. Tulsa W, East Carolina A. I would think East Carolina would win. 15 defense, Tulsa 26. Tulsa not that good. Then we go to tomorrow. Louisville goes to Miami. I'm not a Miller Moss fan of Louisville. No, I never do player betting. I think it's not a very smart thing. And or a live game. Now you got to understand football. There's a lot of injuries, so you start betting on player betting, and the guy gets hurt. Tyreek Hill, Kittle, Samuel, you're fucked unless you went under. So that's another thing you got to worry about. And then live game betting, I don't do it. My bookie doesn't do live game, and I don't really care. I'm just trying to pick the winner. I do that very, very well. So I bet the game, here's your free pick. What is it? Our free pick USC over Notre Dame. I don't care what's going on. I got USC in 16 and a half. That's all I care about. Score ends and they don't lose by more than 16. I won. That's all. I don't want to make 10 bets. I don't want to bet live. I don't understand it. I think it's stupid and I'm not going to do it. So they're just trying to get you to bet more and more and more. And it's just really stupid. All right. Miami 13 and a half, 50 and a half. Miami, the A team with the 13 defense. Louisville, an A team with the 21, but I don't know who they played. Miami's played a hard schedule and won. Louisville, not so much. Again, it's 13 and a half. So it makes it tough to lay 7.5. I do think Miami beats them. Big Nebraska goes to Minnesota. Nebraska 7.5, 47.5. San Jose State goes to Utah State. Utah State 3.5, 63.5. Utah State, pretty high scoring team. And then the Bill Belichick's go to California. Cal 10 and 47.5. North Carolina, they're more of an under team. What do I got them as? I got them as a under team, 25 defense, and Cal's an under team with the 22. Belichick has no offense, so it's a tough one there. Baylor, TCU 3, 65.5. We know what we do with Baylor games. I'm not going to go through every game. LSU, Vanderbilt, Vandy, 2.5, 48.5. To me, it's not a LSU with a tough defense, an 11 defense. Vandy might win it, but I don't think that's the right play. I like Vandy as a dog here, but Vandy favored. There's a lot of skill on LSU's defense. LSU can't score that much. I don't know how strong Vandy's defense is. They did lose to Alabama 30-14, so they put up 14 on them. Alabama got 30. I don't know that LSU scores a lot, but they could win the game, so it makes it hard to take Vandy here, even though LSU's not much of an offensive team. They're an under team. Arizona and Houston. Arizona 1.5, 46.5. At first, I'm looking at this game under, but the more I look, the more I didn't like the under. Arizona plays in higher scoring games, as does Houston. Houston, I thought, had that great defense, but they don't. They're decent defense, but they got killed by Texas Tech, which apparently everybody gets killed by Texas Tech now. They're the team in the Big 12, and then whoever wins this Utah BYU game will be up there. So I don't know. Arizona State's now favored. No, Arizona. Arizona's 1.5, 47. So Arizona's favored. So you get Houston as a home dog. Houston's quarterback's not that good. Wegman was at A&M. Arizona's got Noah Fafita, who's pretty good, but they got killed by, I think it was Iowa State. So this is not this. I thought, oh, this is an under, but no, I backed away from that. Washington at Michigan. Michigan 5.5, 6, 50.5. I like Washington to win the game straight out. Washington, very good quarterback, good team. One at Maryland, and I watched the Maryland game against somebody last week, Nebraska. They got a pretty good quarterback. They can score. They're so they weren't that much of a pushover. Washington beat them 28-24. Washington with a good defense and a good quarterback. Maybe you go under here, or maybe you go Washington getting the 12. But I think Washington can certainly win this game. And they're getting used to the jet lag as they went to Maryland and everything. Let's see. Georgia Tech, Duke. Duke 1.5, 60.5. Haynes King as a dog. We like him. Oklahoma, South Carolina. Oklahoma 5.5, 43.5. Yeah, I mean, Oklahoma with strong defense. South Carolina, strong defense. Should be strong defense on the game. West Virginia, UCF 7.5, 46.5. I like UCF here. I think they win. West Virginia is terrible. Rich Rodriguez is back. He can't play against good talent. Buffalo and UMass. Buffalo 16.5, 40. They should kill them. UMass is just terrible. They lose every game 42-6. Western pounded on. I mean, you're laying 10.5 here. So the question is, how strong is Buffalo? Let's see if Buffalo can handle winning by 11 here to a basic high school team. So Harrison is the quarterback for UMass, thrown for 500 yards so far in 6 games. Here's the offensive comparison. Buffalo 25, UMass 9. This is how you become a Z team. All right, so Buffalo 31-30 to Eastern. They got to win. They lost to Connecticut 20-17, lost to Troy 21-17, beat a shit Kent team 31-28. They're not a big scorer. 31 on Eastern. 31 on Kent's not good. UMass lost 42-6 to Kent, 21-3 to Western, 42-6 to Missouri, 47-7 to Iowa, and lost to Bear Bryant 27-26. I think, if you look at it, let's compare it to the Kent game. They lost 42-6. The Western game, 21-3. They don't score. They haven't scored 10 points except for against Bryant. Who the hell is Bryant? They got 26 and still lost. So they can't score 10, and you're talking, okay, I get Iowa and Missouri, but Western Michigan and Kent State's a Z team, and you scored 6 points there. So, yeah, Buffalo, 31 on Eastern and 17 on Connecticut and 17 on – they're not a big offensive team, so it makes me kind of stay away from that. But normally it's bet who's UMass playing and bet that other team. And it still might come in, laying 10.5, probably will. Texas State and Marshall, Texas State 3, 66.5. This is an over. Both over teams, Texas State. They're both overs with 29 defenses. Marshall's starting to score. So I think this goes over. So Marshall, what did they do? I think Texas has a quarterback named Bo Jackson, Texas State. I believe it's him. And then Del Rio Wilson is Marshall's, and he's starting to play in a new lad. So Marshall's averaging 34 a game. And defensively, they both give up 30. So Texas State, 41-48 to Troy, 30-31 Arkansas State. Arizona State, they lost 15-34. UTSA, 43-36. So they're playing high scoring. Marshall Old D, 48-24. Loses 51-54 to Lou Lafayette. Middle Tennessee, they win 42-28. So you can see the last three games, 42, 51, 48. So Marshall's starting to get it. We know Texas State is explosive. So there's one of your over games. Vegas and Boise, 12.5, 63.5. This is up from 10, up to 11, up to 12, but the totals remained. They're both over teams. Vegas 29 defense, Boise 25. So this should get over. A&M and Arkansas. A&M 7.5, 61. I'm a little bit. I think A&M minus 1.5 is a good play here. Arkansas is 2-4. I don't think they win. They are at home. Now, you could go over, but Arkansas against Notre Dame, here's what I'm laying at, is they lost like 55-13. Here comes A&M in, and I love the quarterback read, and you got to be like, well, I think A&M's going to light them up. The question is, can Arkansas stay with them? And then it might go over, and the over is 62. And so you're like, well, it probably gets over, but probably A&M does most of the scoring, and we only have to lay 1.5. So I don't know. It's an over game with a twist of A&M only having to win by 1. Ohio State, Wisconsin. Ohio State 25.5, 42. What can I say? I mean, Wisconsin will be shut out in the game. Ohio State's this great defense. 42. Ohio State's going to score, but Wisconsin's a pretty good defense. They're at 22. We'll see, but it's a big number, 25, late 19. Yeah, Ohio State probably covers both ways. SMU, Clemson. Clemson's 5.5. Wow, this was 10. All of a sudden, 5.5. Wow, and 51. So, okay. Somebody on Clemson got hurt, probably the quarterback. For the line to drop as well as the total, like sometimes the line drops, but the total doesn't. Here, for them to both drop, I would say Clemson's probably lost their quarterback. Let's see if we get any news on that. Clyde Kubiak injury update. Oh, see, he hurt his ankle. Clyde Kubiak status for SMU gave reportedly in doubt after ankle. So he's probably out, and that leaves you the backup. And how good's the backup? Who the fuck knows? SMU, a strong team. I liked SMU as the dog going in without the Kubiak injury, but see how nobody knows Kubiak's hurt, but the total goes down also. So it's about how good's the backup quarterback. I think SMU is a very strong play here. I mean, it's still, you get 11.5, and the quarterback's got a broken ankle or whatever. North Texas, 4.5, 67.5. I mean, this has got to be my favorite over. Both over teams, both 27 defenses. This is a 67, over 61. 31-30. It's very doable for these two teams. Let's see. Ole Miss and Georgia. Georgia 7.5, 54.5. Georgia, they played Alabama 24-21, and I don't think it gets much past that with Ole Miss. They played a 20-10 with Auburn. Their defense looks back. Ole Miss, their quarterback doesn't scare me at all. It's just a running quarterback. Georgia will eat them up. Georgia doesn't score a lot. 19 defense for Ole Miss, 17 for Georgia. Who the hell has Ole Miss played? Well, I know they played Kentucky. Let's take a look. Ole Miss beat Washington State, who stinks, 24-21. They put up 24 on LSU, 45 on Tulane, 41 on Arkansas, and 30 on Kentucky. So compare LSU with Georgia, 24-19. Georgia, okay, they played the high-scoring game with Tennessee, Joey Aguilar, but then 24-21 to Alabama. They give up 14 to Kentucky, who's not that good this year, but a 20-10 with Auburn. So a 21 with Alabama, a 20 with Auburn, and 44 to Tennessee. They don't have a good defense. So when we look at Ole Miss, Arkansas put up 35 on them, which goes to my Arkansas and Texas A&M game. But then you got only 24 on LSU and only 24 on Washington State. And Georgia and LSU are pretty close defensively. 45 on Tulane, okay. 41 in Arkansas. Kentucky at 30. So I think Georgia wins, and I think it's an under. All right, Old Mississippi State and Florida. Florida 9.5, 50.5. Old Mississippi State's an 18 this year, 19 defense. Florida, we see Langway struggle, 19 defense. This should stay under Florida. Okay, I think I played it. I got to play Georgia. I mean, the SEC is becoming a beautiful underconference. Last week I hit 4 under, Oklahoma, Texas, the Georgia game, the Florida game, and there was one other, LSU probably. You just pound it under. They got such great defenses, but they don't have the quarterbacks now. Interesting game here. Southern Miss, Lou Lafayette. These are both over teams. It's Southern Miss 3.5, 53.5. But they got 27 defense and a 30 defense. But the total is only 54. I have to highlight that. Just, excuse me while I highlight. Over 48. Very doable. I know some of you think every time I write something down, it's a pick. It's not. It goes into the note category where I have to feel if it's a pick. Oregon and Rutgers. Oregon 17, 59.5 at Rutgers. I like the game over. After watching the Oregon quarterback more, he looks like he did at UCLA. Looks terrible. Struggled with Indiana and struggled at Penn State. And I think he's going to struggle here at Rutgers. I think Rutgers is a live dog here. 17 up to 23. They score. I don't know. Oregon's a good team. Don't question. Bad coach. Hate the coach. Washington State goes to Virginia. Virginia 17.5, 56.5. Washington State, I don't know what they did with Ole Miss last week, but I like Virginia. The quarterback's very good. Texas goes to Kentucky. Texas 12.5, 43.5. Texas, a B team, 11 defense, just beat Oklahoma. And I don't think they're going to be flat after beating Oklahoma. Kentucky, an E team with the 27 defense. So normally after that Texas-Oklahoma game, I don't see the team going flat. The winner tends to play better the next few weeks. Like they got relief, like, oh, okay, we beat Oklahoma or we beat Texas. Kentucky's just not that good at 27 defense. So where I would bet Texas under, I don't know. Although they do have Arch Manning, so yeah, they probably won't score. Maryland, UCLA. UCLA 3.5, 52.5. After watching Maryland and Nebraska, I have a play now on this game. All of a sudden, UCLA scoring, right? They switched offensive coordinators, and this game's 46.5. Jesus Christ. They're scoring a lot, right? They put up 38 at Michigan State. They put up 42 on Penn State. Why are they only 52 on Maryland? Maryland, 16 defense, but Nebraska, the Nebraska-Maryland game was 34-31. Nebraska put up 34. Nebraska got the win. Maryland's got to travel. UCLA is going to put up 40 points. The total's 52.5. I need 46, and I'm going to get 40 of it from UCLA. And I know Maryland, I see they have one of these dual quarterbacks, but he looks like he can throw okay. They look like they have a good offense. They'll score on UCLA. So that's where I'm at with this game. I think it's a dynamite over. Okay, Penn State, Iowa 339.5. If you can figure out Penn State, let me know. They just lost to North fucking Western after 2 losses. So there are 3 losses in a row. Going to Iowa, they're not going to win. New coach, quarterback, I don't know if he's healthy or not. He's out. The quarterback's out. So you got a backup quarterback, new coach, and Penn State's got an 18 defense, Iowa at 13. Iowa wins this game. There's no question. Florida Atlantic, South Florida. Now, this is a scary game. South Florida, 21.5, 73 total. Jesus Christ. They're both over teams. Florida Atlantic, a 33 defense. South Florida, 24. You saw them beat Boise. You saw them against Miami. You saw them beat Florida. They're a pretty solid team. I don't know if Florida Atlantic puts up a ton of points, but maybe. South Florida Lane, 21. Over 73. I don't know about that. Seems like a high number. Our free pick, USC Notre Dame. Notre Dame, 9.5, 61.5. You've got to be fucking kidding me. My first blush was over, but when it was such a high number, 9.5, you've got to, it's a joke. Is Notre Dame overvalued? So it's a must-win game for Notre Dame because of the 2 losses. Oh, so this is going to roll USC. Yeah, it ain't going to happen. Number 13, Notre Dame turns to sophomore Joe Otting to take over at center. Oh, well, that'll make a big difference. So that's why the line's so high, because Notre Dame has to win it. They're 4-2. USC's 5-1. Their only loss was a 9 a.m. 9 a.m. game to Illinois, 34-32. They just beat the shit out of Michigan. This is totally out of line. People are betting this game because Notre Dame has to win. Well, why do they have to win? Oh, yeah, because they lost to Miami and they lost to A&M. USC is better than A&M and probably just as good as Miami. So what, we think because they beat Purdue and they beat Arkansas that they're going to blow out SC? No fucking way. This is a big rivalry. USC is not a top 20 team. They're a top 10 team. They got Maivia. You give them a quarterback, they're a better team. They can run, and their defense is good. USC's got a 21 defense. Notre Dame a 20. This game to me is dead even. Notre Dame by 3. I'm getting 9.5 before the teaser, 10. I've already posted it at 16.5 on Monday. So I'm just scratching my head here going, are you kidding me? This spread's way too high, and it's based on the fact that now I understand Notre Dame has to win. Well, that doesn't mean shit. I love USC here. I think they'll win the game. Maivia is very good. The only reason they beat Boise, the guy threw 4 picks. In Arkansas, you ain't getting that from Maivia. Too good of a quarterback. Tennessee and Alabama. 8.5, 58.5. Line down from 60. Tennessee and over team 29. Played Georgia an 80-point game. When's the last time you saw that? Alabama an 18 with the 17 defense. They're really starting to rock. I like Alabama laying the 2.5. I like the over with Joey Aguilar. Let's see if there's any injuries there. Injury report revealed for Alabama. Well, let's see. If they're going to give us one, we'll watch it. Yeah, we know the ranked team. Alabama starting running back Jam Miller, a player who suffered an injury this past week in a win over Missouri, are both set to be without multiple players this Saturday night. Okay, as long as it's not the quarterback. So Jam Miller, okay. Tennessee also has multiple players whose status is a bit unknown as well, one of which is a prominent running back, Deshaun Bishop. Let's take a look at the latest injury outlook for them ahead. Alabama, linebacker out, linebacker out, linebacker out. That's good if we want to bet over, right? Derek Meadows, wide receiver out. Beeman, defensive line out. Wide receiver questionable, and Jam Miller questionable. Jam Miller will play. So you got 3 linebackers out. Are they starters? I don't know. We don't care because if we're going to bet the game over, we want the defense to be injured. Tennessee, DB out. That's even better for us. Another DB out. Wide receiver out. Wide receiver out. Linebacker out. Tight end questionable. And Bishop. Here they're saying it, and he's probable. Starting with a look at Alabama, undoubtedly the biggest player is Jam Miller, but I'm sure he'll play. If he's listed questionable, he's playing. The Volunteers, Bishop is likely the name to watch for headache. Bishop is Tennessee's leading rusher. Who cares? They got Joey Aguilar. All right, so nothing major. Maybe the running back for Alabama, Jam Miller. Okay, yeah, we'd like to have him. So again, does it make it an over game, or do you take Alabama? But the key names is Joey Aguilar and whoever the hell the Alabama quarterback are both playing, and that wide receiver. So that's fine. That's all I care about. These guys get hurt all the time. They don't play every play, so that's okay. Let's see. Missouri at Auburn. Missouri 1.5, 43.5. I watched that game. I watched the Missouri-Alabama game. I think I need to rewatch it. I think I had a phone call or something during the game. I like Missouri's quarterback. I wanted to see Missouri's quarterback. He's a good thrower, right? He's not one of these scrambling guys that like the old Miss guy. No, he's a good quarterback. Auburn, strong defense, 17. Missouri is 16. What was the score last week with Alabama? It was 27-24. They played a 51 with Alabama. And here they've got a 43 with Auburn. I would like Missouri as the dog here. I think they'd be a good dog. Auburn, very good defense. Auburn is a 17 defense. As I said, Missouri is 16. Um, they have played some higher scoring games with Kansas and South Carolina was a 29-20. Auburn's a very good under team, so not really sure. I don't think I like Auburn 7.5, even though Missouri just played Alabama and lost. They'll probably be a little bit flatter than that. Good quarterback for old Missouri. I don't know. Normally, I like playing Auburn under, and I just hit the last 3 or 4 weeks. They went under with Georgia 20-10. Missouri's kind of a wild card. They got a good quarterback, 27-24 with Alabama, so they'll score on Auburn. Maybe I should take them getting 4.5. I don't know. I get so many picks. Utah, BYU, Utah 3.5, 48.5. If this game doesn't go under, I'll stop handicapping. Cincinnati, Oak State. Oak State, the Z team. Cincinnati, 21.5, 57.5. We like Cincinnati, but they beat. We did get the win in the lock with Cincinnati last week against UCF. So it's hard. They got to go to Oak State, and then they're 21, and the new coach. I think they switched quarterbacks, so I like to watch. In our last game, Florida State, Stanford. Florida State 17-53. Stanford's a Z team. Florida State's an over team, a 23 defense. Stanford with a 30. However, Florida State's lost 3 in a row. Now I know I don't want to keep betting black when red's hitting in roulette. I'm talking. So I don't want to keep betting against Florida State because they lost, and I didn't do that last week. I had them against Miami and we won. I had the over in the game last week and we won against Pitt, high scoring game. I see Florida State's kind of got a weakness. They do give up points against good quarterbacks like Virginia and like Pitt. So now we get Stanford, who doesn't have a quarterback. They're a Z team with a 30 defense. So Florida State is going to come to play, and they're licking their chops because this is a Z team. We can finally get a win. We've lost 3 in a row. We need the game. Yes, we got to fly from Florida to California, which is a bitch. They got to go all the way up to Stanford from Tallahassee. So it's going to be a hell of a plane ride. Hopefully they left today. -11. I'll be stunned if they don't cover this. Of course, I was stunned with Penn State last week. I mean, it's 3 losses, but it was against Virginia, Miami, and Pitt. So not Z teams they're losing to. Like Penn State lost to Northwestern, who's not a good team at all. That's what was so surprising about it. So I'll be shocked if Florida State doesn't cover this. They might not. Their defense is not as strong, but Stanford, let's look at Stanford real quickly. Have they had a game where they scored more than 20? They're 2-4 as a Z team. Their quarterback is Gulberson, 1,400 yards. Castellanos, 1,300 for Florida State, but he's more of a runner anyway. How they beat Alabama, I have no idea. So they beat Kent 66-10 and then lost to Virginia 38-46, Miami 28-22, and Pitt 34-31. And amazingly, we haven't lost on them yet. We had them against Miami and had the over in the Pitt. Now Stanford, 27-3 to BYU. BYU with a great defense. They beat BC 30-20 because BC had to fly there on a Saturday night. So it was a time game. Virginia beat them 48-20 at Virginia. They beat San Jose State 30-29, and San Jose State is not much. And then SMU beat them 34-10 at SMU. So they're losing their road games. They beat BC with the freshman quarterback who scores a lot, and San Jose State 30-29. So I see against decent teams, SMU, Virginia, BYU, they get killed. But they're all on the road. So Florida State did lose 46-38 to Virginia and then killed Clark Kent, I believe, 66-10, which is sort of like I don't know, San Jose State's not too bad. San Jose State's a W team with the 29 defense, and they beat them 30-29. So, yeah, I guess that answers a lot. So I'm just, going to be shocked if they stay in this one. But that doesn't mean anything. We've been shocked before. That's it. So tonight, Tulsa East Car, I'm not playing, but I would say the play is East Car. They're the A team. Tulsa's the W team. East Car 15 defense, Tulsa 26, total of 54. I think East Car gets the W there. So your free play is USC, as I said. I just love it so much. It's insane. That's a field play. I looked at that and because I like US. I've been watching USC all year because I like Maivia. And I'm just watching and I'm going, this team's really good. And then they beat Michigan last week. And I go, yeah. And I had locked USC against Michigan. And so that was nice. And then it's like, you just beat Michigan. You're going to lose to Notre Dame by 16 points. Are you kidding me? So I was initially going to go over because Notre Dame's been scoring. But lately, Notre Dame's playing a little better defense. But when I saw 10.5, I said, okay, that's outlandish. There was no way that Notre Dame, oh, well, they must win it. Well, why? Because they've lost 2 games. They now must win it. And they beat Purdue and they beat Boise. They're going to kill USC. Mm-mm. So you can see my hands are full in college. I wish I had this many good games in the pros. So I've already posted one lock in college and about 6 plays. And after going through this, I'll have another 5 or 6 plays that I'll post. And pros, I'll post something. There's about 6 plays I saw going through it. I'm waiting for some injuries in the pros. It's only Thursday tonight. I might play tonight's game. I haven't decided. It hasn't hit me yet, but I've been so absorbed in the college because this is like Christmas in college. It's like, oh, here's a game, here's a game, here's a game, here's a game. So I've been doing that. And then I think probably tomorrow I'll post the pro. I got to post if I'm playing tonight's game. But after some of these Thursday games, you're just, you're leery if they're not fixed. I don't know. Pitt, Cincy, we'll see. But that's what's going on. So let's check there was an alligator video I wanted to show you. Let's check our gold first. And then we'll see a little alligator. Not a lot. I think 5 minutes, 6 minutes. All right, we got silver at 53.70, and we've got gold. All right, gold 42.77. Is this an ad? I don't care. Don't prompt again. Anyway, 42.76. Up 88. So we've gone through 4,000 and then 4,100, now 4,200, and on our way to 4,300. We got to 4286. So look for 4,300. Jesus, what the hell is going on here? All right, 4277. These ads keep jumping up. 4277, and so it's up $88. So we're on our way for 4,300. It's just going to keep going. All right. I don't know all these. All right. So
if you need a new roof, go to mymichiganroof.com, powered by Shana Roofing. We offer a lifetime dive right in here, Alistair.
Okay.
Before we started speaking,
so I don't know who this guy is. It's Alligator. I don't like when the guy puts a commercial in his own video. What the fuck is that? So anyway, just the first couple of minutes is all we'll listen to.
Reporting. You said there's some interesting things happening in the markets right now. Care to elucidate? Care to let us in on what you think is most interesting?
Yeah, well, particularly in precious metals markets. I mean, the thing that's fascinating is the squeeze on the system. I mean, they're not overbought, and a lot of the time you see, prices rising while open interest on COMEX is contracting. I mean, it's an extraordinary situation. And we're hitting new high ground in gold and silver in particular. I mean, all this indicates is a lack of liquidity. And fascinatingly, the standard deliveries on COMEX, I mean, yesterday, the last day of September, I mean, it was absolutely huge. Something like, 66 tons, 65 tons of gold? And, sort of over 1,000 tons of silver. I mean, these are enormous amounts for a market which was never intended to act as a delivery mechanism. And I think it sort of indicates that, people wanting gold or silver in size, they can't go to the refineries because they're all sold out. They'll deliver in sort of join the queue sort of thing. So the only alternative really is to go to the futures markets, pay a premium, if you like, to pick the stuff up, and then stand for delivery. And that's what's happening. I think, in both cases, I think China has got quite a lot to do with this. In the case of gold, China has more or less cornered the gold market. I put out a note today analyzing how much gold China actually has, China and her citizens. And, if you want to read it, you can pick it up on my Substack. But I reckon, and I'm fairly confident of these figures, that China has something like 75,500 tons between it and its citizens. Bear in mind that it's been
Where did he get that from? Oh, yeah, that's the number I've been saying, that they had 70,000 tons. He used to say 10,000. He didn't know what he was talking about. So I can tell they're listening.
Accumulating this since 1983. So we're talking about over a long period of time. Also in a big bear market between 1983 and 2002. And it was at a time when we were selling gold hugely. I mean, we were selling not only our gold as investors, but also the central banks were selling gold. And not only were they selling gold, but people were taking delivery of gold, leased gold, and selling it into the market and putting the funds into US treasuries. And the gold disappeared. Guess who was buying it? China. I mean, the point is that if you look at the above ground stocks of around about 200,000 tons, look at how much gold China has got. We're looking at 35, 36% of all above ground stock. It's leaving everybody else short. It's a short answer. And so we're seeing the squeeze now. And,
Well, it's not China, it's BRICS. China's got 75,000 tons. Russia's got 20, and India's got 30, and Saudi Arabia. I mean, I'm sure Brazil and South Africa. So I don't know, like, it's all BRICS. It's not China. It's BRICS has probably 150,000 tons of the 200,000 tons. So if you got to buy it, you got to buy it from them, and you're going to pay for it. And hence why the price keeps going up.
Major US banks, amongst others, are beginning to get bullish on gold. And they manage portfolios which have no gold. And, at the moment, while, the Magnificent Seven are soaring and, credit bubble is intact, perhaps underlying investors don't care too much. But when that pops and they've got no gold, they'll be looking at a very, very different situation. And I think that these banks are beginning to realize that they've got to have some gold. But if you look at just adding to the 0.5% which global portfolios own of physical gold, if you take that up by 1%, they've got to 25,000 tons at current prices. It's not there. It is not there. And this buying is going to happen. Of that, there is absolutely no doubt whatsoever. So what we're seeing at the moment, which might be terribly exciting for the bulls, gold rushing up to 3,900 and, looking as people forecasting it's going to go 4,300 or whatever. That's just the start of it. This is actually, I think, a crisis developing within the precious metals market. And what we see in gold, we're also seeing in silver. The story in silver is obviously different. But China, again, has been a big player in silver as one of the leading global mining nations. Not only that, but over a long period of time, they've been importing silver doré, refining it, hanging on to silver, but using their clout to keep the price suppressed. That's no longer happening. So we've got shortages developing in silver now too, as far as Western capital markets are concerned. The fact is that pricing of these things is no longer under our control. It's all gone on to Shanghai. And what we're seeing the squeeze on the establishment, the people who are short, not just establishment. If you look at the commitment of traders figures, you'll find that even managed funds have short positions. They're net long, but they've still got some short positions. The swaps, obviously, a big net short. The liabilities that are mounting up on the shorts are just staggering, absolutely staggering. So, it's a squeeze on the system. And I think actually, Danny, what we're looking at, if you stand back, we're looking at the dying days of the fiat currency system. And, that basically means that after a period of time, doesn't matter don't know how long it'll be, but I suspect it won't be all that long. Unless governments actually manage to pin their currencies to gold, they'll become valueless. They'll go down to close to zero. I really can't see the politicians even thinking that they need to protect their currencies. They're still spendthrifts. They're still,
Well, they need to buy their votes. Now, it'll be the end of the fiat system, but not the financial system, as I said earlier. So, in other words, Say's law will work. We'll go to work, we'll get money, we'll spend. We'll go into the market and we'll buy groceries and restaurants and clothes and everything else, gold and silver and potato chips. Will so you need that medium of exchange. So instead of so when he says the fiat system's crashing, this is going to be worthless and this is going to be worthless, which we know these will be worthless. That's why you need gold and silver to protect yourself. But they'll have to come out with a new dollar and a new euro and a new British pound because we need to make the market work, right? We need to go to work and get paid somehow, and then we need to spend and go to the stores and buy and shop and vacation. So we need to do all that. So you can't just not have a dollar. So will it be fiat? It might be. They'll try to come out with USD number two, and it'll still be crap, but they'll try to sell it, or they'll sell it as stable coins or Bitcoin, which is crap. So you don't want to be in that. Yes, it's worth whatever, $100,000. Yeah, whatever. But the dollar is worthless. So it's really worthless. The difference is gold doesn't need the dollar to have value. Gold will have its own value. So that's how protected we are. Even if the dollar crashes, gold is still going to buy a house. That never goes away. The gold becomes the money, and that's fine. And so they come out with dollars backed by gold, but I don't know if these guys are smart enough. They'll probably not, and that'll be it. But they'll have to, or we'll all move to BRICS countries and have gold-backed currency there. Anyway, that's alligator. A few more minutes. But it's basically everything that I've already said. He's just starting to come to terms that we're right and he's wrong. And now he's kind of saying, because if I could show you older videos of alligator, he didn't know what he was talking about. China had 20,000 tons and he thought inflation was prices rising, not the value of the dollar going down because you're printing it. So it's all about value. So even though it says $100 on the bill, doesn't mean what does $100 buy you? Nothing. An ounce of gold, you can see he's running. All right, a little bit more.
Having huge, great deficits on their budgets. They don't care. They just complain that the markets need higher interest rates. Well, it's hardly surprising. You're going to need higher interest rates still. And meanwhile, everybody in the market, in this credit bubble, assumes that inflation is going to diminish. But I mean, the thing they get wrong is it's not, sort of prices, if you like, in that sense. It's the loss of purchasing power of the currency. That's what they've got to look out for. And if I'm right that we are in the dying days of the fiat currency system, then prices are going to soar in the next 2 years. And that is something which, of course, nobody expects. But it won't be prices going up. It'll be the value of currencies going down, their purchasing power collapsing. And, of course, as soon as people realize that, they dump the currency for anything they can get with it. I think that's the future.
Let's say you have 50K in cash and you use that to buy Bitcoin on Coinbase. Bitcoin's at 100.
Future.
Well, I'll say, first of all, we're not sure prices are going up. Prices can only go up, as we've said many times, only if we approve it. So steaks are at $20, nobody's buying them. They can go to $30, nobody's buying them. Eggs went up, nobody bought, and they came back down. My dark chocolate's now $5 for Lindt and Cervaldi, but you know what? I can't find 80% or 90% on the shelves. There's nothing on the shelves. They're raising prices with no inventory. What the fuck are they doing? So I went to Meijer's and I went to Walmart's looking for my dark chocolate. I can't find it. They don't have it on the shelf. None of it is over 80% or 90%. Even my Swiss brand that I get at Walmart, they didn't have anything 70, 80, 90%. So I don't know if I can eat my dark chocolate anymore because I don't know I can find it. And they'll try to sell dark chocolate but they don't realize it's got to be 80%. It's dark chocolate at 50% is really milk chocolate, right? It's got to be 80%, 90% dark chocolate for you to have actual dark chocolate that's healthy. The cocoa, because there's too much sugar in the ones with 50, 60%, because it's mixed. So it's 80% dark cocoa with 20% milk chocolate. So there's not that much milk chocolate makes the dark chocolate worthless, makes it helpful, but not the other. One thing I saw from our good doctor was oregano. We should be eating oregano or applying oregano seeds or oregano oil. It's apparently a very strong antioxidant, good for mind, like this hacking cough and stuff. So I'm going to kind of research that for us. All right.
I'm very sorry to say.
Yeah. At the start of the podcast, you mentioned this massive volume standing for delivery. Are we at any real risk of seeing a failure to deliver?
Well, it's not impossible. I think we have to, if you like, divide out bullion banks from others in the market, as it were. I mean, bullion banks will try and run a balanced position as much as possible. Where they're short on COMEX, they're probably long in London, sort of thing. But when you've got hedge funds, when you've got people, sort of, and maybe market makers just making a market in the swaps rather than having positions in London as well, then they could become, if you like, a systemic problem, which I think they try and cover up. They must try and cover it up. I think it's not impossible that a bullion bank will get into difficulties, but I think it's more likely it's amongst their clients that the difficulties will arise. That would be my view, anyway.
And if that occurs, what are some of the first and second order effects of that?
Well, within the COMEX rules, they can declare force majeure, but nobody's going to want to see that at all. I think what's likely to happen is there will be a rescue behind the scenes. We won't know about it. It'll be hushed up. It'll be very, very quiet, but it will happen. And it wouldn't surprise me if that happens quite soon. But, we're not to know about it, because if you get a failure in these markets, particularly gold and silver, this could undermine the whole of the derivative industry. I mean, because we're not just talking about, those derivatives. I mean, they are central to everything. Just think about the extra pyramid, with gold at the bottom supporting everything else. I mean, that might exaggerate the position a little bit, but you can see how important gold is in all this. And if you get a failure in what is actually legally money and all else is credit, in the failure in real money counterparties, then this is serious. You've got to bear in mind that the market has moved. It's now over in Shanghai. I mean, the physical market's over there, not over here.
So does that imply that futures markets like the oil market, the rest of the commodities market, those paper contracts, those paper derivatives would pretty much, essentially, the prices for all of these commodities would just soar through the moon?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's in terms of, if you like, contagion from gold and silver derivatives. Yeah, I mean, you've got the same counterparties operating in all these markets. So you are going to get that contagion, if you like, spreading across. And it's not just those markets, because once you spread from gold and silver into other commodities, you're also, going into counterparty failures in the other really large derivative markets. And even in foreign exchange and things like that. So, it's got to be stopped, basically, and they will stop it. But as to your point about commodity prices rising and all the rest of it, I would note that gold is leading the way upwards in commodities. And my view is that it's likely to drag other commodities like base metals, for example, and energy up with it, but particularly base metals. I mean, they are, relative to gold, they are now cheaper than they have ever been. And since gold is the real money standard, as it were, even though that's being driven up, if you like, by markets, I would see that all these relationships are going to come under huge, huge strain. And it's not good for the purchasing power of paper currencies.
Understood. So we've got about a few months left in the year. What do you forecast ahead for the next 3 months or so? What do you see by year's end here?
Well, I think there's an increasing likelihood that the credit bubble will burst, come to an end. Now, if that happens, it's going to unleash, I think, some major developments in the markets. I mean, apart from anything else, something like a 1987 style crash or 1929, October 1929, both October, incidentally. This is quite a dangerous time historically. That style, that sort of scale of move down is going to create huge, huge, great problems because the amount of leverage in the market is at record levels. Just look at the figures coming out of FINRA. I mean, the end of August, the level of leverage was about 1.2 trillion, I think, from memory. And that's up 4 or 5 times since over the last 10 years. This is huge leverage in the markets. That gets unwound very, very quickly. And you find that, while, if the market drops 25%, say, when it starts, then, a lot of these leverage positions are going to be just completely blown out of the water. And the experience of a deflating bubble, particularly when you've got the complexity of tariffs put on top of it, trade tariffs and all the rest of it. I mean, it's just like 1929, and this is not good. But this time it's even bigger. It's bigger than 29. I mean, a lot bigger. So whether it happens in the next month or two, I don't know. I think it's quite likely to happen by the year end. And then, of course, that's going to have a huge, great impact on bullion. Because if you think about it, I mean, every market's going to be in the same position. Some people will have, think they got wonderful profits in bullion and they'll cover the losses by selling bullion. But apart from that short-term effect, what we're likely to see is a flight out of paper into physical bullion. I mean, just get the hell out of paper. It'll start in the financial markets, that move. So it would drive, and think of it from the point of view of a large investment management organization with their clients holding no gold at all, which is par for the course, long up to their necks in tech stocks and whatever. When that starts collapsing, where do they go? I mean, the answer is they try and get out of the falling stocks as quickly as possible, and anything where they can sort of rescue something. But on the margin, they're going to be saying, well, the one thing we haven't got is bullion. We've got to get into safety. And I think that's what the
foreigners will do as they crash the market. That's what I've been saying for the last 5 years. This is worthless. So people will dump this Rumpelstiltskin into gold because that's your only option. There's no other lifeboat but besides gold and silver. All this is worthless. So that's all he's reiterating is people will realize it's worthless and jump into gold and silver at any price. Being only 200,000 tons and most of it in bricks, probably 150,000 up to 200,000 tons in bricks, there ain't a lot of gold left. So as people realize they need gold into the portfolio, they'll pay whatever for it if they can. So the richer guys will pay 10,000, 15, 20,000 for an ounce of gold. The poor people will pay and buy silver. And so eventually silver hits, as I said, 1 to 2,000, and gold will be at 5,000 by today's October 16th. By the end of the month, gold will be 5,000 on its way to 10. And as and when the market crashes, which is a when, not if, it'll go to 10. People will dump, and they'll have to buy gold and silver with it. And they'll have to cover. I love how these people go into derivatives and go into all this leverage play, like they know what they're talking about. No, you don't do leverage. You bet what you can. So though they will have to get out of the dollar because it'll be worthless into gold. And then everybody says, well, you can't take gold to the grocery store. Then you're going to start taking gold to the grocery store, and silver, mostly silver, not gold, but because the dollar won't have a value. How are you gonna sell it at the I'm going to sell eggs. What are they for? Well, I don't know. The dollar has no value. We'll have to sell it in silver and let the market ramp. Steaks will end up being not even an ounce of silver. It'll be a half ounce of silver, because an ounce of silver right now is 53. Well, steaks sell for 20. So you do the math. It's like a tenth of an ounce of silver will buy you a steak. That's how it changes over. Your house goes to zero in dollars because the dollar has no value. How can you value your house in dollars when it has no value? So when this goes out, the house goes out, the car goes out, everything goes to zero, but then gets revalued, because then what's the new money? Oh, it should be gold back. Okay. So my gold back currency then has a value. The house then, maybe $50,000 of gold will buy the house. And then the ounce of gold that'll be worth 50,000 will buy the house for you, which is what I keep saying. Just that's what's happening, and you can hear it. That's what's going to happen by the end of the year. Well, it's already October, and everything crashes in October normally. So just be careful with that. But we think ahead. So we're out of the market. I'm out of the banks. I have a little bit of cash just so I don't have to sell any gold at these prices. So the goal for us is to hold your gold as long as you can and not have to sell it to pay bills and go on vacation. Use money for that. So you keep maybe 10 grand in the safe, and then all your gold, your 100 ounces of gold. And then as you need money, you take the money that's worth nothing. You pay your mortgage, you pay your car payment, you pay your credit cards with heavily inflated money that has no value. Oh, you want $1,000? Here you go. I can buy tuna with it, but it'll pay off the credit card or the house or the car payment until it goes to zero. And then when gold hits 50,000, you're now going, I'll sell an ounce for 50, and I can go to the grocery store for 5 years with that. That's the key to it. Then we use the gold to buy things, and people without the gold can't buy anything. And that's the problem is if you got 100 grand in dollars, it's worthless. You got 500 grand in a 401k, it's worthless because it's in dollars. And that's what you have to understand. So you think, oh, I got money. You don't. You don't have money until you have money, which is gold and silver. And that's what you'll use to pay your bills. Who knows what'll happen, because the market has to redetermine itself. What's the value of the house? Oh, 50,000 gold backed dollars will buy you a nice house. But the market has to come up with that. Going to the grocery store, yeah, you will use your silver. So everybody who laughs about, oh, I can't take gold and silver to the grocery store. Oh, yeah, watch, you will. That's why you have it. And they'll just have to convert. What are they going to do? They can't keep taking dollars when a dollar doesn't have a value. Well, we'll all go to stablecoin. No, we won't, Trump. We don't like stablecoin because that's not real. I'd at least want real money, gold and silver, not real estate trusts, not stocks, not bonds, because they're all in dollars. They're all worthless. Bitcoin, zero. Stablecoin, zero. Bitcoin is not money, and it doesn't have a value. And when it's valued in dollars, and when the dollar goes out, it's worthless. Same thing with stablecoin. It's supposed to be backed by dollars. Well, the dollars won't have a value. So why would you buy a stable coin? Just hide your gold and silver as best you can. You should be able to, like, you can take a few ounces on a plane by putting it in your wallet. So if you do this, and I've done this and I've never had a problem. So you got your wallet, and here's 3 ounces of gold because it's the same, and I put it in the wallet. Feel like a magician. And then I fold it up. So I got my ounces of gold in here, right? They're in here. And then I fold it up and I put it in a plastic bin, and they're not looking for gold. They're looking for weapons, guns, knives, stuff. So this is fine in there. So here's 3 ounces. You get it through, and off you go. You don't even go through customs. You just go right through it. Now, for me, I don't have enough gold. I think when they say diversify into different countries, that's if you got a lot of gold. And I don't consider 100 ounces a lot of gold. And I'm not going to take 50 ounces and put it in Switzerland. I got to be able to get to Switzerland to get to it. So, or at least that's what I think. So right now I don't, it's all here in Michigan, but you know, you got to be careful, but that's what you do. And then you'll have it, and that's what's you'll be able to eat and everything else. You got to be careful. You don't tell people, because it's going to get bad, because people won't have money to eat, and the government will fuck it up and then say, oh, you need the government because we'll save you. You're the ones who got us in trouble. No, it was Putin. It was the war. That's why we're all the inflation came from. No, it came from you printing the money. So don't let the government fool you into believing it was Putin's fault, not their fault. It's the government's fault for printing. It's not worth anything. You printed it to death. And the alternative is to sell it for gold and silver, which is what everybody's doing, which is why there's not enough out there. So the price has to go up. And it's going to keep going and going and going. So that's enough with Mark McGuire. So we will leave you with silver 53.91 and gold 42.94. So there you have it. I keep getting this PDF shit. 42.94. We're very close to 43. And 53.85, we're very close to 54. This more than likely will be 60 soon, maybe 70 by the end of the month, probably 100 by the end of the year. This goes to $5,000 probably by the end of the month. As you can see, it's up $100 a day. So anyway, so that's where it's headed. It's just going up and up and up because the dollar's worthless, and therefore it's because of demand, which always drives prices up. High demand, low supply, price goes, and it's going and going and going. So that's what we have. Anyway, that's it. Your free play, USC plus 15.5, 16 against Notre Dame is your free teaser play. Free play in the pros, Washington, Dallas overs. Dallas goes over every fucking week. So I believe the receiver is going to come back for Washington. The guy from McLaurin, I believe he'll be back, which will only help Washington. Losing to the Bears is pathetic. I don't know. The Bears, I don't know. They got some secondary back, so their defense is getting a little bit better. And that's about it tonight. Pitt, Cincinnati. Pitt is 5.5, 44.5. My score, 24-20 Pitt. This thing, Cincinnati plays well at home. Flacco will make a difference. Chase and T. Higgins will make a difference. So Flacco's good enough to get them the ball. So I'm not quite sure Pitt just runs away with it. I think Cincinnati can stay in. Maybe you go over in the game. I don't know. Pitt's defense is getting better. We'll have to see. Anyway, it's probably a better game to watch than it is to bet on, but we'll see. Pros are really, there's so much unknown in it now, between all the fixes and then just watching the games. There's so many bad players. The GMs are lost. They want to have a quarterback who runs instead of one that throws, which makes it very difficult because you're trying to bet based on Mahomes. You want to bet on. You don't want to bet on Drake May or Cam Ward or any of these shit quarterbacks. And that's what you got a lot of: New England, Tennessee, Miami, Cleveland. How the fuck can you bet on this shit? So I'd rather bet Sunbelt. At least I have an idea. So that's what's going on. So any other questions, comments? www.teaserking.com. I have posted a lock, a college lock, and the USC free plays up there with whatever I added it with. And then I got some more, about 5 more picks, and I'm going to add 4 or 5 more based on today's class. And then I got to add the NFL, which I haven't. So Washington, Dallas, I haven't played. I haven't posted yet. I'm still studying it, but I'll post it tonight, I'm sure. And these games aren't till, well, tonight, Pitt Cincy, I gave you the 24-20 score. LA Jacksonville, we got to see Pukanuka's playing on Sunday morning. A big thrill for LA. Keep in mind, it's 6:30 in the morning for them when they get to play in London. So this is a big problem. It's why they play these games so early. It's insanity. Even the 9:30 start, even if you're East Coast, Jacksonville and the Giants, it's still 9:30 in the morning for them. Who's the idiot with this idea? Oh, let's go to London because of what? They don't want the games. They play soccer there. They don't care about football. Take care, Prophet. Anyway, Pat, good to see you. David, take care. All right. So have a good day, everybody. www.teaserking.com. We'll keep our eye on gold and silver, and off it goes. But expect it to just keep going because the demand, people getting out of the dollars, going into gold and silver, and it's very limited, as BRICS has most of it. So if I want it and it's very limited, I'm going to have to pay more for it. And that's what BRICS is about. So you're going to buy it from China, you're going to pay for it, or Russia, or India, or any of those. So keep that in mind. And again, silver, you're buying an ounce. You don't care if it's a Cougaran, a Maple Leaf, $1. All you want is $9.99, 1 ounce pure silver. That's what you're buying. And it's you don't want to pay more for a Cougaran or a Maple Leaf or an Eagle, because it's priced at $54 an ounce of silver, not $54 in US and $55 in Cougaran and $53 in Maple. It's $54. It's worldwide. So keep that in mind. And we don't want to buy collectibles or pristine ones or what's that thing? We just want to buy regular 1 ounce. That's in nice shape. That looks nice. That's what we want to buy. You don't want to buy scratch stuff or really dinged up. And the same thing with gold. You just want, but keep in mind, if it's $54 for silver, somebody's going to sell it to you for 27. Say no thanks. It's a scam. All right. Have a good day, everybody. Enjoy, and I will talk to you tomorrow. It's already Thursday, and we're making money in our gold and silver. That's all that matters. All right. You take care, everybody. Have a good day. www.teaserking.com.